Token Web Licensing is a new feature in License Activation Manager. The system allows the generation of licenses over the web via License Activation API. Let's explore the interface first. This is the token identifier screen. In here we can set the token validity based on an expiry term. Any token issued will follow the token ID in the table we see. The dynamic serial interface will allow us to generate a token serial key. The generated token serial key can then be given to customers to activate your software product. It's important to note that for this to work correctly, the License Activation API must be installed on your server. The API will validate the token serial provided by the customer and issue a license file to activate the software product. All tokens are stored in the database. This section is only related to the token's issue and validation. As this was discussed before in our tutorials, we will only skip through it. The token licensing system can be managed through this section. We can issue token licenses from this window. Licenses can be bound to an identifier such as a computer hardware ID. We can also issue unbound licenses. We can provide the generated license file directly to the customer. However, the License Activation API will still be needed to validate the license to activate the software. We can validate any token license manually through this interface. All generated licenses are visible in the table shown. We can revoke and delete licenses from this interface. Let's now demonstrate the token web licensing feature. We can start by generating a token serial for our demo product. The token ID refers to the token identifier. This defines how long the token license will be valid for. To issue a token license file manually, simply enter the computer hardware identifier and the token serial key. The computer hardware identifier is optional based on your product preference. The hardware identifier enables us to bind the license to one computer so it can't be used on another one. Let's activate our demo product using the token serial we generated. In this demonstration we already have the license activation API configured and running on our local server. Once the API validates the license request, it will return the license file which will be stored in the user's computer. Validating the license is normally done automatically via the License Activation API. The manual license validation in this interface is an extra that helps mainly in reading token license files. Deleting and revoking a token web license is simple. If a token license is revoked, it will disallow the user to operate the software. This will generally take place when the user is accessing the software and the web validation check is being carried out. How often the software product validates with the License Activation API is based on the product settings. Deleting a token license will release it from the database and can allow the user to reapply again to reactivate it. Let's demonstrate how revoking a license works. The license selected has been activated earlier on. We will revoke it and check what happens on the user's end. Depending on the product setting on how often it will check to validate the license with the API. When the user runs the product, it will display the error message shown. The license is now revoked and the software won't run. Unrevoking the license will allow the user to run the software normally again. The license will generally run until it expires. When the license expires, the user will see the expired license prompt.